Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Manchester United players unhappy with Solskjaer's coaching. This is coming from The Athletic and the Manchester Evening News. The players seem to be happy with Solskjaer, but they're not happy with the coaching standards. Obviously our coaching staff are Michael Carrick, Kieran McKenna and Mike Phelan. The other week Mike Phelan signed a new contract at Manchester United. Obviously earlier on this season Gary Neville came out and said that we're playing as individuals and we're not playing as a team. Despite all of that though, the club will look to stick with Solskjaer, Michael Carrick, Kieran McKenna and Mike Phelan. As you all know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is under pressure at Manchester United. We have only won 2 of our last 6 games in all competitions. We are winless in our last 2 league games. But he said the other week that Man United are still fully committed to Solskjaer and have no plans to replace the club legend as manager despite a topsy-turvy start to the season. The Daily Mail said not so long ago that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's future as manager could depend on the next 10 games. Solskjaer received strong backing in the summer transfer window. You know, John Murtough backed him. John Murtough recently said that we need to keep control and we will not deviate from the plan. John Murtough is our director of football and we made the right decision getting a director of football in, because I did mention that's one of the structural changes we needed at the club. Darren Fletcher also backed Solskjaer in the summer transfer window and we made the right decision recommending him back in, because Darren Fletcher knows the club through thick and thin. He endured 2 decades as a player for Man United. Ed Woodward has also backed Solskjaer. Well, Woodward said a long time ago that he'd back Solskjaer, and he assured that Solskjaer's job was safe even when we was enduring them really bad periods where Solskjaer was close to getting sacked. Woodward is leaving Manchester United, as you've already gathered. It got announced he was leaving back in April when that European Super League came into the equation. Woodward has had a 16-year association with the club. The Glazers also backed Solskjaer, but only through persuasion, because towards the end of last season, the Glazers were planning to scrap the Champions League for that European Super League. And reflecting on that, there was United fans protesting against the Glazers at the Carrington training ground and then outside Old Trafford. But Solskjaer did reveal that the Glazers apologised. Towards the end of last season, it said the Glazers could have been forced to sell Man United, but for only £4 billion. Now, the other week, it said the Glazers were selling 8% of Manchester United in the shares worth £137 million. The Glazers have been at Manchester United for 16 years. They purchased the club for £500 million back in 2005. And you know what? Man United enjoyed a very good summer transfer window this year. You know, we spent around £141 million, brought 4 players in. You know, we brought Tom Eaton in on a free from Aston Villa, brought Jadon Sancho in from Dortmund, brought Rafael Varane in from Real Madrid, and we re-signed Cristiano Ronaldo after 12 years. We only managed to sell 1 player in the summer transfer window, and that was Daniel James. The reason we sold Daniel James is because we re-signed Ronaldo. We did loan a few players out in the summer transfer window. We loaned Brandon Williams out, Ethan Laird, Axel Tuanzebe. Tahith Chon and Facundo Palistri. Solskjaer has endured 5 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. Like I updated you not so long ago, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics got slammed by Danny Blind, who is the Holland assistant and the father of ex-United player Daley Blind. I've got to agree though with what Danny Blind said not so long ago. I've told you there's a lot of United fans that have got strong reservations about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's decision making. Analysing the vast majority of the games Solskjaer's managed at Man United, he's been tactically naive. Solskjaer has to win a trophy at Manchester United. He's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. That's nowhere near good enough to our standards. And a few weeks ago, Solskjaer did mention that we must leave a legacy of silverware. Well, we know Solskjaer's ambition for this season, and that's to win the Premier League. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013, that's 8 years ago. Now, I'm very sceptical that we're going to win a Premier League title under Ole. A lot of United fans are very sceptical about it. But we should be winning the league this season. Revert back to what I've said before, because we've got a title-winning squad. And even earlier on this season, Solskjaer told his Man United squad that it's better than the 1999 treble-winning team that Ole was part of. I said at the start of this season that this season was going to be massive for Solskjaer, because he's got big expectations to exceed. This season is Solskjaer's 3rd full season as Man United manager. Now, if we do decide to eventually sack Solskjaer, who's going to come in to replace him now? You've obviously got some Man United fans that are demanding Antonio Conte to replace Solskjaer. You've also got some United fans that want Zidane to replace Solskjaer. Now, if Solskjaer does get sacked, he will be the 4th permanent manager to be sacked since Ferguson, because we've already sacked 3 managers since Ferguson. You know, we sacked David Moyes, we sacked Louis van Gaal, and we sacked Jose Mourinho. And we're not even really known as a sacking football club, because we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers. But our board and that must think Solskjaer is a long-term manager for Man United. Solskjaer got given a new contract in the summer. He signed a new contract with the club until 2024. There's an option of a further year. And revert back to what I said before, we made a mistake giving Solskjaer that contract, because I can assure he won't see it out. Solskjaer has no proven pedigree as a manager. Like I said, he hasn't won anything with us yet as manager. Before he was with us, he was at Molde. He won a few Norwegian titles at Molde, but they're not a big club. He endured 2 spells at Molde, and before Molde he was at Cardiff, and his record at Cardiff was absolutely disastrous. The reason he got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting them relegated. He only enjoyed a short tenure with them. Solskjaer has gained some managerial experience though, reflecting now on he's been Man United manager and he's learned a few different things on the job, but there's still plenty of things he's got to learn because he's still a young coach. in December, Solskjaer will be celebrating 3 years as Manchester United manager. I'm surprised he's still Manchester United manager, because we've endured very bad periods under Ole where he's been extremely close to getting sacked. But the reason he's still Manchester United manager is because he's a legend of the club. That's what saved his job. Solskjaer endured 11 years as a player for Man United. He flourished under Sir Alex Ferguson's guidance. Ole has managed over 150 games as Man United manager in all competitions. Solskjaer got appointed in December 2018 to replace Jose Mourinho. He's been permanent Manchester United manager since March 2019. The reason we give him the job permanently back in March 2019 was reflecting how well he did as the interim manager. Solskjaer has made good signings. Solskjaer has signed 14 players so far as Manchester United manager. So in the summer of 2019, he recommended Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. In January 2020, he recommended Bruno Fernandes in and Odin Igalo in on loan. In the summer of 2020, he recommended Edison Cavani in, Donny van der Beek, Alex Telles, Amad Diallo and Facundo Pellistri. And in this year's summer transfer window, he brought Tom Heaton in, Jadon Sancho, Rafael Varane and re-signed Ronaldo. So we spent like 441 million so far under the Solskjaer era. Solskjaer's also got rid of a lot of players since he's come in, which he had to do. The players he's got rid of permanently, like I mentioned earlier, he got rid of Daniel James in this year's summer transfer window. Ole also offloaded Borthwick Jackson and James Wilson. Ole released Sergio Romero and Joe Pereira. Ole also got rid of Igalo, Rojo and Fossa Mensah in January. Ole's also got rid of players like Jun, Valencia, Darmian, Smalling, Fellaini, he left in January 2019. Ole also offloaded Herrera, Angel Gomez, Sanchez and Romelu Lukaku. So they're a lot of the players he's got rid of permanently. You can say that progress has been made under Ole, because Ole has got us to semi-finals. He got us to 3 semi-finals in his first full season. Also got us to the EFL Cup semi-final last season. Last season he got us to the FA Cup quarter-final, and last season he got us to the Europa League final, and that was Ole's first major final as Man United manager. So there you go. And last season Solskjaer got us a second place finish, and in his first full season he got us a third place finish. I like the way Solskjaer develops the youth as well. And Solskjaer's more or less given everybody their chances to express themselves, including the young players, like he surely would do when he got appointed in as Man United manager. But in general, I've got to say that Solskjaer has done a good job. To say the current squad he was left with when he got appointed in as Man United manager. I didn't expect him to do as well as he has done, so in that aspect I am shocked. Because Solskjaer knew when he'd taken over at Man United that it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the club through thick and thin. Ole is managing one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the biggest, and Ole knew he had a lot to do when he came in. And like I've said before, I think Ole is our best manager since Ferguson, despite me heavily criticising him during his managerial tenure at Man United. Obviously, Ole is not going to replicate what Ferguson did at Man United. No manager's going to replicate what Ferguson did. Ferguson brought success to Man United. He won 30 odd trophies, including 13 Premier League titles, but Fergie didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United, so that just indicates that it takes some managers time to settle in. Ferguson was a very long-serving manager. He enjoyed a 27-year managerial tenure at Man United. Before Ferguson wasn't that good. We weren't good under Ron Atkinson. We certainly weren't good under Franco Farrell. We got relegated under Franco Farrell back in 1974, which is 40 odd years ago. And we weren't good under Wilf McGuinness. I think Wilf McGuinness enjoyed like an 18-month tenure at Man United. Next year, Manchester United want to sign a defensive midfielder. That's coming from Fabrizio Romano. Well, in the summer transfer window, we went in for a few midfielders. We went in for Sol Niguez, but we didn't get him because he went to Chelsea on loan. We also went in for Ruben Neves from Wolves, but we didn't get him. At one point, we went in for Corentin Talisio. Man United are still interested in Declan Rice from West Ham. Well, it said the other week that Solskjaer told the Glazers that he wants Man United to sign Declan Rice. Well, earlier on this season it said Man United ended the pursuit of Declan Rice over West Ham's 90 million valuation. It said we was looking at Declan Rice alternatives. When the summer transfer window was open, it did say that Declan Rice was unhappy with West Ham's 100 million price tag, and Rice has rejected a few contract offers at West Ham. He's got like 3 years left on his contract at West Ham. I'm expecting Manchester United to sell players next year. There's a very good chance that we're going to sell Martial next year. Well, Martial isn't good enough to represent the club. So reflecting on that, Martial's finished at Manchester United. Martial did play against Everton before the international break, surprisingly, and he scored. And that was his first goal for Man United since February. Martial also played against West Ham in the Cup, but he struggled to make an impact in that one. Now, there's quite a few clubs that want Anthony Martial. Newcastle want Anthony Martial. Not so long ago, Newcastle made formal contact with Martial's representatives. The Saudi Arabians recently took over Newcastle, so reflecting on that, Newcastle are looking to spend big. Man United will demand close to the 54 million they originally paid for Martial back in 2015 from Monaco. He said earlier on this season that Barcelona are considering making a move for Martial next year. Martial's been a long-term target for Tottenham. Atletico Madrid were in for him last summer. Don't forget, Martial rejected the chance to join Lyon on loan on deadline day. And before the start of the season, it said Inter Milan wanted Martial to replace Lukaku because Lukaku went back to Chelsea. Well, before the start of the season, he said Solskjaer refuses to sell Anthony Martial as he remains part of his plans. The best season I recall Martial having was his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. Martial has been at Man United for 6 years. He's got 3 years left on his contract and he's scored 79 goals for us in all competitions. Last season, Martial was out with a knee injury for a while. Don't forget, Solskjaer was the one that gave Martial that number 9 shirt. I think Edison Cavani's going next year. I can't say I want Cavani to leave though, because Cavani has made an impact since he's come in. Cavani was out with injury earlier on this season. Cavani played against Everton, surprisingly, and he had a very good chance from a downward header, produced a good save from Jordan Pickford. Well, Cavani has initially lost his place in the team with us re-signing Ronaldo, but I think he'll get his chances now because we're considering a formation change which will allow Solskjaer to play two strikers instead of one. So it will be Cavani and Ronaldo playing together. Cavani has got under a year left on his contract. He was back in May. He signed that 1 year contract extension and he receives over £200,000 a week. Cavani's got a very good pedigree behind him. Look at the amount of silverware he won when he was at PSG. Not only that, he was a long-serving player when he was at PSG. The other week it said Real Madrid want Cavani on loan in January. Real Madrid tried to get him in the summer transfer window, but the club failed to make a move happen. Madrid want Mbappe and Haaland, but they'll wait until next summer to get them. I think Barcelona will reignite their interest in Cavani in January as well, because Barcelona tried to get Cavani on deadline day in the summer transfer window. I'm expecting Juan Mata to leave next year. Juan Mata's contract expires next summer because earlier on this year Juan Mata signed a 1 year contract extension. I can't understand why we extend his contracts for another year because Juan Mata doesn't get in our team. And plus he's lost that yard of pace and he's ageing up. But despite all of that, I do reckon that Juan Mata's had a good career at Man United. Mata has been at Man United for like 7.5 years. So he's been a long-serving player. He's made over 200 appearances for Man United in all competitions. The first part of last season, he rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. We got Mata back in 2014 from Chelsea for 40 million. Lingard, I think he'll go next year. I think Van der Beek's going next year. You know, Van der Beek is not getting enough game time at Manchester United. And I've said, haven't I, Solskjaer should be starting Donny van der Beek, especially in the Premier League. Now, it has said today that Juventus have opened talks with Donny van der Beek's agent over a possible January move. Many clubs are in for Van der Beek. Newcastle have been interested in him. Everton remain interested in Van der Beek. It said that from Sky Sports News not so long ago. Everton were close to signing Donny van der Beek on loan, but Solskjaer rejected Van der Beek's exit. Fabrizio Romano said not so long ago that Van der Beek is planning to leave the club in January. Donny van der Beek's agent is said to be working hard on finding a new club for his client. A few weeks ago now, was it? Donny van der Beek was furious with Solskjaer as he was left on the bench in Man United's win over Villarreal. Van der Beek was spotted throwing chewing gum in the dugout. Van der Beek will try to force a January transfer away from Man United following his Villarreal meltdown. Earlier on this season, Van der Beek told Solskjaer his best position. He reckons he'd be best served operating as a number 6 or as a number 8. And Van der Beek spoke about his Man United future in an exclusive interview with Rio Ferdinand. But like I said, Van der Beek's a good player, but I haven't really had much of a perception on him at Man United because he hasn't been given enough game time. This season is Van der Beek's second full season at Man United. We got him for 40 million with add-ons included. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025 and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. I want Man United to offload Fred next year because Fred's not good enough to represent the club. we overpaid for Fred. We got him in a deal worth 50 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. I think he's out for the game against Leicester at the weekend, so Van der Beek has to start. Tellez, I think we're going to be offloading him next year because Tellez doesn't really get in our team. He only played most recently because Luke Shaw had a minor injury and he was out with illness. Tellez played well though against Villarreal, scored a very good volley, also played well against West Ham in the Cup. The reason we brought Tellez in was to provide competition for Shaw, but we've seemed to get the best out of Shaw since Tellez come in. Earlier on this season, Tellez was out with injury. We got Tellez for 15.4 million, I think with add-ons included. Dalot, I think we'll offload him next year. Dalot is our backup right back to Wan-Bissaka. Dalot did play against Villarreal, he was poor. He played against West Ham in the Cup and I thought he put a good performance out against West Ham in the Cup. Last season, Dalot had a loan spell with AC Milan. Reflecting on that, he gained some experience. We paid 19 million for Dalot from Porto. We got him 3 years ago and he's got a contract with Man United till 2023. Jones and Bailly, I think, will leave next year. And Dean Henderson could go out on loan because obviously De Gea has reclaimed the number 1 spot back. Yesterday I gave you the news on Raphael Varane. As you all know, Raphael Varane is a doubt for the game against Leicester on Saturday because Raphael Varane came off injured in France's Nations League final against Spain. He went down holding his leg. Varane got replaced by Daya Upamecano in the 43rd minute. I think we've assessed his injury. I haven't really looked into it. I'm not sure what type of injury it is. We know we've obviously got Harry Maguire out. Don't think he'll be reuniting with his former club at the weekend. They're the only 2 injuries now, Harry Maguire and Raphael Varane, because Rashford's now back. Amad Diallo's back. Luke Shaw just come back from minor injury and illness. So there you go. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you for today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.